This is the Barbados Today morning news for Thursday, June 29. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. Police are investigating the island's latest murder. Lawmen were called to the scene at St. Stephen's Hill, Black Rock yesterday afternoon after one man was shot several times about the body at Goddard's Road. Barbados Today's Anmar Goodrich-Boyce has this report.
This was the scene at Goddard's Road, St. Stephen's Hill, Black Rock yesterday afternoon, where a man in his 40s was shot dead at this address. It was just after 3 p.m. when police responded to a report of a shooting, and upon arrival they discovered the man's lifeless body in the street. Family members and friends were also present at the scene. Pictures of his execution-style killing quickly went viral on social media. The victim was wearing a white vest, black jeans and a Michael Kors belt at the time of his killing. He was shot multiple times about the body. There was much talk at the scene of him receiving at least 13 gunshot injuries, including what were believed to be fatal shots to the head. With residents reacting in obvious disbelief over his killing, family members huddled together in the rain, some of them quietly shedding tears. Residents appeared apprehensive about speaking about the incident in the presence of heavily armed police. Anmar Goodrich-Boyce, Barbados Today.
In other news this morning, Barbadians are getting a temporary reprieve from the 2% levy on foreign exchange transactions. The central bank announced last evening that the tax will now take effect on July 17, just over 2 weeks later than the July 1st implementation date announced by Finance Minister Chris Sinclair. It will apply initially to cash, bank drafts and wire transfers, and will be added to credit and debit cards and travel cards from September 1st. The central bank will oversee the rollout of the new tax, and Acting Governor Cleviston Hales says the delay will allow the public to become familiar with the new fee, and will also give the central bank an opportunity to educate the public on the FX fee as well as facilitate a smooth introduction. Haynes says the extended time for credit, debit and travel cards is to allow commercial banks and other credit card providers extra time to adjust their computer systems. In the coming days, the bank will launch a public education campaign on the new levy. The president of the Barbados Vagrants and Homeless Society, Kimar Safri, says he is worried that more people will become homeless as a result of government's austerity measures, which are expected to take effect soon. Safri told a panel discussion on national issues hosted by the Global Shapers Bridgetown Hub that more children and women could end up living rough, and he estimates that the number could increase by as much as 150%.
And they predict, that we're going to hit the 1,000 mark very soon. Because if you do the math till now to the end of the year, and they have 2 to 5. Now, I told my staff to do this for me. There's a public table that we put in the office that we're going to ask the general public of Barbados to come, and they can see anything they want to see on the organization, including daily statistics of how much persons we register on the streets. And do the math for 2 to 5 and add it to the year and see how much homeless person you will get. And I said the more hurtful part is children, youth, yourself, women, because the men were always there in terms of homelessness, but those 3, which are more vulnerable so than the men, are now becoming homeless because they have people that are actually sleeping on the street that are pregnant. So you're going to have a serious, so I think that the government needs to look at, start enacting certain things before they just come and chew these policies. How does the vulnerable people survive these new policies?
Political analyst Peter Wickham is hitting back at former trade unionist Robert Bobby Morris after the DLP stalwart dismissed the recent Cadres opinion poll, which showed that support for Prime Minister Frundle Stewart and the ruling Democratic Labour Party is at an all-time low. The poll also showed that opposition leader Mia Mottley is favoured to lead the country. But Morris says it was out of touch with reality, and he accused Wickham of deliberately selecting districts that support the opposition Barbados Labour Party. But Wickham tells Barbados Today that Morris's comments were disturbing and offensive.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Good morning, Phillips & Company, may I help? Oh, certainly. One moment, please. Miss Phillips?
Yeah?
There's a lady on the line from the Nation newspaper who would like to speak with you.
The Nation? Will she go on?
Well, they're trying to sell us some ads.
Look, don't make me laugh this morning. Ads in the nation? They're real expensive, and for one here, nobody ain't buying them papers no more. Nobody ain't want to steal news. I hear reading Barbados Today online for free. So I tell she thanks for calling, but no thanks. We just advertising Barbados Today, families. Tell she is Barbados Today all the way.
Okay, I'll pass on the message. Mom, are you still there? Oh, she put it down.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region, and we go to Trinidad, where a former police prosecutor has been jailed for 17 years with hard labor after being convicted of raping a 17-year-old girl 16 years ago. Justice Althea Alexis Windsor told the court that aggravating factors in the case against Harry Ramlochan were that the accused was a person of trust and there was a level of vulnerability as the girl and her mother had gone to make a report about domestic violence. In handing down the sentence, the judge said she considered the convict's age and the child's age at the time and the fact that it was her first sexual encounter. Ramlochan was 50 years old at the time. Jurors took 90 minutes to find him guilty after a month-long trial. And finally, U.S. President Donald Trump's temporary ban on all refugees and travelers from 6 predominantly Muslim countries is expected to take effect today, but there is still widespread uncertainty about how it will be implemented. The confusion follows a U.S. Supreme Court decision on Monday that allowed the controversial executive order to take effect. We get more in this Reuters report.
The Supreme Court ruling this week that much of President Donald Trump's executive order temporarily blocking travel to the U.S. from 6 African and Middle Eastern nations could go into effect. But the court saying that visitors with what it called bona fide relationships with American citizens or entities would be allowed entry. As the ban is set to begin, there seems to be little clarity on what bona fide relationship really means. Reuters correspondent Lawrence Hurley.
Our understanding is that the agencies that will be rolling out the implementation of the ban on Thursday have asked the Justice Department to help with the legal analysis of what counts as a bona fide relationship with the United States. So there's a kind of a legal confusion there, and that could manifest itself on Thursday when the ban goes into effect if the guidance hasn't been issued and people aren't sure exactly who qualifies and who doesn't.
Trump's first attempt at a travel ban roiled airports. Its broad wording affected individuals with U.S. visas, including family members of American citizens, Iraqis who worked as translators for U.S. troops, and children seeking medical treatment in the States. The new version of the ban is far more limited. But the question of what constitutes a bona fide relationship could face legal challenges, as people who believe they are entitled to travel to the U.S. are blocked. The U.S. also announcing Wednesday it will require new screening for passengers and baggage on U.S.-bound foreign flights, but the measures fall short of the total ban on laptops and other large electronics some had feared. Airports will have 120 days to comply.
And that's the news. There's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can find us on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. We are also on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Mary Claire Williams. Have a good morning.